Hi, everybody. My name is Tamar. I won't say my last name, you won't remember anyway. And I'm here today to speak about open government and how to make it work. Now, thanks to the organizers for inviting me and letting me speak today, but I'm afraid I have to make a big confession from the very beginning. I am not a tech person at all. This is the world that I don't understand anything about. The most I know is the phone screen and the computer screen that I use, and anything that happens behind those scenes is just a mystery to me. So big respect to those of you who are a part of this community. Now, the world that I know a little more about is the world of open government. How to make governments more transparent, more accountable, and most of all, more inclusive in the decision making. And I'm going to speak today in a manner that I love to speak, which is ask challenging questions and show how things are bad and problematic and make everybody's life difficult. But I'll also try to show a little bit of glimmer of hope. And I really hope that you, from the very different spheres that you're from, will also start to brainstorm what can we do about it, how to make civic engagement great again. Okay, so why is this question? I'm sorry, but I have to keep walking because this is how I speak. For the walking in the center. So I work at the National Democratic Institute in Georgia, and here I have to show this big disclaimer that all views are entirely mine. They do not reflect the position of the NDI. Now that we got that out of the way, I work at the local level. I work in 5 municipalities around Georgia. You can see the regions with this beautiful map I created with my great skills. And I work with local governments. I work with civil society, with the media and general public. And the idea is to bring all these different people together and to include citizens in decision making. And decisions can be from very simple, you know, where to put a street lamp, or how to allocate budget, right? It can vary in complexity, but the idea is the process, and we try to facilitate it. And one of the hardest thing, and the first thing I always hear from my partners, is that citizens just don't want to get engaged. And when I ask why, the answer is, oh, they're not interested enough. Or, oh, you know, Soviet Union, the legacy of the Soviet Union, lack of political participation. So what do you expect? And somehow it's, these answers are not satisfactory to me. They're not enough. And they're not enough because we haven't been a part of the Soviet Union for about 30 years. Yay, good thing. Second of all, it's because there are some participatory mechanisms in the legislation, like petition, budget discussions, attendance of the public city council meetings, and so on. So there should be a bit more positive picture, but it's not. And the third and most important, as many of you know, it's the whole open government movement, right? Open government partnership that promotes transparency, accountability, and civic engagement, citizen participation. And Georgia has been a part of OGP as well from 2011, and has been implementing mechanisms like e-procurement, online platform of declarations of public officials. So a lot of these mechanisms, what they have in common is exactly technology and innovation, which is where the hint lays in how to make some of the not efficient mechanisms today work. So what we did was, because I was not happy with the answers I was getting, I decided to, well, we decided as a team to conduct focus groups in the regions we work in, to ask citizens what is going on in their heads, right? Some of you are designing platforms, some of you are designing product, and the end users of this product, a lot of times, are the citizens. So you probably wonder what is going on in their head, right? Not to have a disconnect. And first of all, I'd like to thank everybody who attended the workshop yesterday. And I also have to apologize because you already heard all of this, so sorry about that. But one thing that I was really excited about is that, yes, before I presented the challenges that we found out through the focus groups, we had a little bit of an interactive exercise to see what other people in the audience would name, okay, to get a sense of the kind of challenges that different communities face. And I was really surprised and, in a way, comforted and pleased to see that the challenges are quite similar. So please keep this in mind also and approach me afterwards to share your experience from your community, because I'd be very, very happy to hear that. So we asked citizens, why don't they participate? We had NGO representatives, people with mixed backgrounds, and so on. So the first thing, and this is something that Jan also mentioned, is the awareness. Citizens don't know that there is a petition platform they can use, or a petition that they can just write or sign. They don't know that there's budget discussions they can participate in. And they don't know that there's open city council meetings where their fate and the fate of their community is being decided on, okay? But this is a very simple challenge. This is easy. You don't know something, and then you're told and you know. It's relatively easier to overcome. What's harder is the attitudes. And this is the whole trust issues we're getting into, which was the main topic of the PDF. It is, I might know that I can go and speak to my government, but is it really worth it to take out very precious time from my life, the time that I can be spending with my family or friends or doing many other more interesting things than talking to my officials? No offense to people from the public sphere here. But is it really worth it if my voice is not going to be taken into consideration anyway? And that's a really tough one, right? And then we have the third, which is opportunities. People in the focus group named that government officials or elected officials always approach them in pre-election period, but the rest of the time, from election to election, they are being neglected. And this is a bit of a tricky one. And it's tricky because I know for a fact, I work with some of the public sector representatives, and I know some that put a lot of effort to reach out to their constituents. Nevertheless, citizens have this kind of an impression that they're not being cared about or not being approached enough. And last but not least, it's the skill set. And this is difficult also because I might know that I can participate in budget discussions. I might be given an opportunity to participate, invited to a specific place with specific time. I might be really enthusiastic and think that, wow, my voice matters. But then I go to the meeting and I simply cannot interpret the complex budget. And this is true. I said it yesterday as well. I can't, personally. It's very difficult to, running ahead. It's very difficult to interpret budget for regular citizens or any other complex legal documents. So how do we, keeping in mind these challenges and being in the respective sectors you're in, how do we keep this all in mind when we develop some platforms? So I'm going to show you two examples which give me a glimmer of hope. And one is at the national level. Oh my God, I have only 2 minutes left. One is at the national level, and the other one is at the local level. And first, it's Budgetmonitor.ge, which was developed by the State Audit Office in Georgia. And one of the creators of the platform, Mariam from Georgia, is in the audience. So all the complicated and sophisticated questions you have to address at her, not at me. But the idea is that Budget Monitor simply takes budget is public. It's already there in the legislation. But what it does, it simplifies it for simple people like myself. I really urge you to go on there. I don't have time during this speech. I can only show the screenshots, but it's a very interactive platform. It's in English, and please take a look. This is the kind of visualizations you see there. Here you can see the spending by program. And the biggest one is the social assistance program, actually. Just random fact. You can look at the administrative resources spending of different budget agencies. You can look at the audit findings. And most importantly, and my favorite, is the citizen page where you can report corruption and participate in audit planning. Woohoo. The second one I wanted to show you is even more of my favorite, because it was implemented by a municipality that is relatively poor. It's not doing very, very well, but it had a few people who actually attended PDF last year or year before, I think, both from the government and local civil society. So yay, PDF making actual impact. So what they started doing is, city council meetings that are public and nobody attends. So they said, let's live stream them. and not only live stream that and have it one-sided, but also let people ask questions and comment in live broadcasting. So somebody's sitting at the computer, reading it out loud, and having the conversation going. Direct communication from the citizen to the public. And what you can see here, among these Georgian scribbles that you probably will not be able to understand, is this is actually how the quality of the video they have, right? It's not very good. It's all they could get. The equipment, and this is exactly how things are taking place. But the idea and the spirit is behind it. The spirit and the idea to make open government work by tweaking the existing, just 30 seconds, existing practices that are not so efficient and making them more applicable to the public. So if there's one thing you're going to take away from my short speech today is this. Please, whatever sector you are in, you're in public sector and you want to reach the citizens, you're in tech sector and you're creative and you also have these amazing skills, or you're in the middle like me, facilitating processes, let's keep citizens in mind and try to tweak the inefficient ways to make them more usable to the end users. Thank you very much. Please approach me with questions afterwards.